Hey, what is up, PlusUltraFam? Time for podcast number 19. Hashtag PlusUltraFam shoutouts to Wave Toma, Sebastian Benitez, Shadowmaster25, Amber Bradley, Son Goku SSJ Blue, Ikeda Type 25, Nolson Morjone, Justin Marshall, Fergu Clark, Kev Can, and Los Yoko. As for interesting comments from last podcast, we actually had a bunch. Fear the Pig Gang and I had a conversation about what breed of dog Nozomaru would have been, where I came to the conclusion that he'd be an Akita Inu just to kind of fit with the kind of picture I was trying to tell with him. I never had an idea of what breed he'd be. In fact, I kind of thought of him being somewhat similar to Akamaru, just with the features of a fox. But I did think that giving him a different breed would be kind of dope, because Kuromaru, which is Sumei's dog, is not the same type of breed of dog that Akamaru is. So Naruto also having a different dog is a pretty cool idea. So I chose the Akita Inu, while he actually suggested a Malibu, which is actually a really good choice, just not the one I went with. And the majority of you guys actually chose a Clash of Ninja 3 style game over a Fighter Z style game, which I was pretty surprised about. I thought since Fighter Z has such a big following in the FGC right now, and there's so much clamor for a Fighter Z 2 or Season 3 even, which even I would really love. I really expected a Naruto Fighter Z style game to win, but I can see the appeal of a Clash of Ninja 3 style game. My only real problem with the Clash of Ninja games is that it seems like health bars are really small, and the combo systems are really simple, but I feel like that could be really easy to kind of optimize and make a lot better with the Clash of Ninja 3 on new hardware and a better system, so I totally get where you guys are coming from. Also, me and Cyrock had a pretty interesting conversation about why I started a second channel for Reading Better Left Unsaid instead of just doing it on Plus Ultraman and leaving it here on this channel. I haven't spoken at length about why I did this, but I actually did have a few pretty good reasons for it. Number one, a ton of my subscribers are really finicky and only decide to watch certain things on the channel. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this, it's just that it's not the most loyal of a subscription base as I could have. A lot of you might be here for just the Stay and Train Deku series, which is cool if you are. A lot of you might be here just for the What If Jiraiya Dr. Naruto series, which is cool if you are. But it'd be really cool if you give other things I make a chance, because it really supports me as a content creator, and it really increases the chances of you getting what you want to see out a lot quicker, because I get more ad revenue, which means I don't have to worry about, whatever bill this month, and I can, go about my business without all that stress on me, so I can work on, part 4, What If Zabuza turned good or survived. I haven't been able to work on that one before because I think it just now hit 10,000 views, and that's been out for like almost 4 months now. So that video series wasn't doing well, so I said, okay, let's push that to the back burner. These are the reasons that these things happen to you guys, and it wouldn't happen as much if you guys supported everything that came out on the channel and watched them consistently, which is a really big reason to hit the notification bell. Sorry to harp on you guys, but this is just what the situation is. My number 2 reason would be that I'd honestly been looking for an excuse to start a second channel. Beyond is going to have a lot of different stuff than What Ifs on it. I'm probably not going to ever do a What If on there. Like, one thing I know I'm going to do very soon, I'm planning to do a review of the Netflix show Seis Manos there, and possibly do a rewrite of the series as well. That's something I really do want to do. Number 3 was because you guys can be kind of finicky with what you want to see, I decided a second channel would have been best, because that way those who really want to see the story read continued or the fanfic reading continued, they can go out to that second channel and get it how they want to get it. They don't have to sit around and, scroll through the subscription feed and say, oh, Plus Ultraman has a new upload, but it's not what I want to see, so I'm not going to support it. That hurts me as a content creator. Without doing that and just doing it on the second channel, that'll be better for me, and that way that doesn't hurt the main channel, which is my main source of income. And my number 4 reason was I wanted a reading of Better Left Unsaid, because I love falling asleep to, fan fiction readings. One I've watched a ton of, which I also recommend to you guys to watch, is Dragon Ball Shift, made by my friend Dread Trex. It's really well narrated, and it is kind of weird to fall asleep to your own voice, but just hearing somebody explain something really slowly and have some nice, relaxing, sometimes relaxing music in the background really helps. But with that done, it is time to get into our What If for the day, which, if you have read the title or seen the thumbnail, you know is What If Street Fighter and Dragon Ball took place in the same universe, which surprisingly was suggested by Dread Trek, who I just mentioned. Quick disclaimer, I know very little about Street Fighter lore, so if I get something wrong, somewhat go easy on me, but also try and, tell me something so I can get it right the next time. This timeline is extremely similar to the canon timeline, except in the first attack by King Piccolo. There are 4 students who stand up against the demon, Roshi, Shin, Goken, and Goki, Goken's younger brother, led by Masters Muto Ito, and Gotetsu. In this timeline, the two have met as youngsters and have actually combined their dojo into one. So the Assassin Fist is kind of the same style as Mutaito's style, but those movements and techniques are kind of mixed in together, and it's a really similar technique that just kind of merges and becomes one as time goes on, and these two perfect it and keep going with it. After a few, choice encounters with King Piccolo and his hordes, it's not looking too good for these guys, and a majority of the students who are not the 4-star pupils have actually died. Because of this, Master Mutaito goes off on his own, leaving his students and co-teacher to fend for themselves for a while he tries to find something that can defeat the horde of demons. As the good guys are more dangerous in this timeline because they've had two masters, one of which being Mutaito, one of which being Gotetsu, who have been training together and coming up together and, becoming stronger, therefore making their students stronger. King Piccolo's hordes are having a much harder time dealing with them as a whole, and because of this, he makes more and more of his demons to fight them, and they are endless and ruthless in their beating on the other star students. So they actually come into one fight where the 4-star students are nearly killed, causing the last teacher present, Gotetsu, to decide to use a technique he and Mutaito wish not to use to protect them, the Shingokusatsu, or Raging Demon, as Akuma is quoted as saying to Bison that the power of the attack is based off the evil a being has done. Then I would assume that this technique used against hordes of demons would be absolutely devastating and would allow Gotetsu to destroy at least a big chunk of them, if not each and every single one of them. The massive horde is nearly wiped out by Gotetsu and the students using what little strength they still have left, and surprisingly, Goki snaps and reveals that he has actually mastered the Raging Demon without anybody's knowledge, and even lands a killing blow on Gotetsu to kill a demon right behind him. Whether this is intentional or not is unclear, but Gotetsu is proud to have been surpassed. Goken and Roshi are the first to notice that something has changed in their comrade and brother, as Goki takes his master's prayer beads and claims himself as Goki no more. He is now only known as Akuma. Having a ton of his children wiped out, the real King Piccolo arrives. Unfortunately, Akuma is much too tired by the huge use of the Raging Demon to use it again so soon. The demon is about to destroy them all, but Mutaito arrives, angered at the fall of his friend Gotetsu. Using his new technique, the Mafuba, King Piccolo is sealed away into a rice cooker at the cost of Mutaito's life. While he is a bit stronger here, he is still not strong enough to survive the use of the technique. With both their masters dead and the other students of the school also dead, the 4-star students part ways. Shin still having something break inside him, but not like Akuma, nowhere near as insane or dark. And that's the first major change of the story. Akuma and Goken are stronger and involved in this universe. Roshi starts his Turtle School, Shin his Crane School, and just to keep up the ideas of the Shijang, Goken starts the Tiger School. It won't be the exact same name as in the canon story of Street Fighter, just that it represents the white tiger, Roshi the black tortoise, Shin the vermilion bird, and Akuma, if he did start a school, the azure dragon, just say. Decades pass in the Dragon World, and the 4 Prodigy students keep up their training for a while. Akuma most of all though. And though drawing out very dark powers, he is able to somehow increase his power and massively slow his own aging process. Roshi, though, is the first to take on students. A boy named Gohan, and soon, one who claims himself as the Ox King. When these boys grow ready to finish their training with Roshi, Roshi sends them to the other master he knows, who is pure of heart, Goken. There, the boys learn the less lethal style of the Ansatsuken that Ken and Ryu learn in canon. Both Roshi and Goken encourage them to simply build off their styles to create their own. Gohan actually completes this idea and does it himself, though he has already gotten much stronger than he had ever expected himself to grow, so Ox King does not do this and returns to his normal life. Gohan continues training as he ages as well, growing a lot older. Akuma grows very bored of his current life as there are no challenges. His contemporaries have gotten old and soft, and their students, though he hasn't studied them much, are mere pups to him. He simply continues his training, but his hatred, power lust, and madness continue to grow all the same. Around age 733, 4 boys are born into the world. Ryu, who is still pretty much just adopted by Goken, Ken, who has the same backstory of being from a rich family who needs discipline, as well as Ten Shinhan, and a boy named Yamcha. Through a bunch of differing circumstances, they would end up in the care of Goken for Ryu and Ken, where they begin training and grow extremely strong extremely quickly, since Goken is a lot stronger than his canon counterpart. Shin for Ten Shinhan, and in the cruelest twist of fate, Yamcha meets Akuma, who just so happens to pass through the Diablo Desert only for the foolish boy to try and rob him. As for the power levels of the four masters, I'd say Roshi is still the strongest, at about 30% stronger than his canon power level, with Goku only about 10% weaker than that, and then Shin about 40% weaker than that. Akuma, on the other hand, is stronger than Roshi, and would probably be in the low 400s already due to working on his Dark Hado powers. Yamcha is obviously no match for Akuma, but the boy shows an incredible amount of killing instinct, and once realizing Akuma will kill him, fully tries to destroy him out of pure survival instinct. Modern day Yamcha is characterized as very laid back and easygoing, but live as long as he did as a bandit, and you would have to show some type of killing drive. Yamcha has to have some sort of killer in him. Seeing this, for once, Akuma is interested in the power of someone else, and decides that he could raise a student to be his next source of entertainment and his next challenge. His contemporaries had done so, and those students were beneath him. Perhaps he could create a worthy challenger for himself by training them. And so, he takes the little desert bandit under his care when he is only so young, around 9 or so, and begins his training as Shin and Goku do the same for their students. A while later, on the mountain home of Gohan, something strange crash lands. Out of it, a 3-year-old boy in strange armor emerges. Gohan decides to take care of the boy and takes him in. One night on a full moon, the child transforms into a great monster. But as Gohan is much more powerful, he is easily able to beat the creature into submission, causing it to revert back into the heavily injured child upon the morning. Sensing the monstrous and destruction wanting ki flare up, Akuma seeks out the source of this power, forcing his always loyal pupil to come with him. I imagine the two having a similar relationship to Haku and Zabuza from Naruto. Yamcha is just happy to be cared for and paid attention to by an adult, while Akuma views him as little more than a tool for his own eventual challenge. Though, because of the moments where Akuma can show it, it is very possible that there is an amount of affection somewhere in his heart for Yamcha. By the morning, they are unable to feel the power any longer, and Akuma curses at himself for his slowness due to Yamcha, ordering the boy to begin training harder since he slowed him down. As Gohan nurses the injured Goku back to health, he notices that he hit the boy on the head pretty hard. His behavior becomes completely different from this night on, and Gohan is very adamant about the boy never going outside or looking up during a full moon after this happens once again, and he pieces 2 and 2 together. And of course, as his grandfather acts in the martial arts, and Goku is a Saiyan and naturally wants to fight, so does Goku. Time passes and the boy grows in purity of heart, and especially strength of body, learning his grandfather's blend of the Kami style and assassination fist. But as he knows neither of the styles which make up his own style, it is rather incomplete of a fighting style, and there are a lot of flaws in it. Across the world, smaller tournaments and other skilled fighters begin to emerge in these tournaments, one of which is the Fighter Zagat, the best Muay Thai fighter in the world. He wants a challenge and decides to host a tournament to prove he is the greatest fighter alive. The young Ryu and Ken decide they would like to go and enter this tournament. Somewhat wary of doing so, Goku sends them off to go and do just that. They are younger than they were in canon when they set off on their own, but Goku allows them to leave when they want to go train with Roshi, and they are more powerful, so it kind of balances itself out. Shin sends his 2 students out as well because this could earn them some good money. Akuma considers going himself again, but this will be no challenge. Yamcha has finally grown powerful enough to challenge him for the first time, but even though Akuma has continuously tried to influence Yamcha to use more and more killing intent and use the Dark Hado, the boy is only willing to use so much, and so a ton of his power is really and truly squandered. After their fight, feeling the boy's power has indeed grown, and yet his heart has not become like his own, he feels that Yamcha needs to go and be away from him, as his growing affection for the boy is beginning to make him feel weaker. Threatening Yamcha with death, the boy scaredly runs away from the man he had become to see as a surrogate father, and decides to return to the Diablo Desert and steal, as well as, if he can't stomach it, kill as many people as possible to prove his Dark Hado's power to his master and father Akuma. In Zagat's tournament, the competition is pretty easily ran through by Zagat himself, Tien, Ken, Ryu, and Chaozu. Though Chaozu is pretty easily eliminated by Ken, Ryu defeats Zagat's apprentice Pomplot, and Tien and Zagat defeat random no-name opponents. Later, these two meet, and in an upset, Zagat is defeated by Tien. Ken and Ryu meet in the ring after this, where their fight ends up being the most exciting one of the tournament so far, and destroys a good bit of the arena, and shakes the ground as well. When it ends, Ken finds himself unable to defeat his pseudo-brother, though the fight could have gone either way. Tien and Ryu meet in the final match, where Tien is somewhat surprised to battle an opponent this powerful. he finally recognizes that Ryu and Ken are from a martial arts school rival to his own, and grows much more lethal in his fighting style. In this, he uses the Dodon Ray and is able to land a nearly lethal blow on Ryu. As this happens, the same power Akuma had been trying to coax out of Yamcha explodes from Ryu. The boy uses one of his techniques enhanced by the Dark Hado, the Shoryuken, which slices Tien across the chest, giving him his scar from Canon extremely early in this timeline. With this, Ryu is named the winner of the battle and the tournament, but as this happens, he is terrified by the power he's just unleashed, and he flees back to his master's dojo to seek his guidance about the power he just utilized, with Ken accompanying him. Afterwards, Tien and Chaozu are very angry about their loss and return to Master Shin and Mercenary Tao for even more and more harsher training. Upon arriving home, Ryu and Ken find that Goken has been murdered, and they mourn their master's death. Ken, still grieving and at a younger age than he goes through this in canon, decides he wants to go back to his family in the West City, while Ryu seeks out Master Roshi for his help in attaining the secrets of his new power and hopefully find out who killed Master Goken. He only stays with Roshi for a little while before leaving to travel the world, but he tells Roshi he will return soon. Roshi has a very strong hunch about Goken's murderer, but without concrete proof, he decides not to tell Ryu, as the boy is young and very gung-ho about getting this murderer. Around this time, the two inhabitants of Mount Paozu receive a visitor by the name of Bulma, but also a girl by the name of Chun-Li. The two are searching for the mystical Dragon Balls, as Bulma originally wanted them to find a lifetime supply of strawberries, or maybe had the perfect prince transported to her, but later when meeting Chun-Li in the city, who was already working as a detective to try and find her father, who had disappeared, she is hired by Capsule Corp to work as a bodyguard to Bulma on her adventure and receive funding to fuel her investigation. Once Bulma hears her story, she now wants to help Chun-Li and wishes to know what happened to her dad. Since in this timeline they are around the same age, Chun-Li is just a little older than Bulma. Goku is still hit by Bulma in Chun-Li's car, but here, Chun-Li and Goku get into a fight as Goku poses a major threat to Bulma. The two actually have a pretty good fight, but it's clear Goku is stronger, and forgetting he needs to hold back because Chun-Li is strong, she is not his equal, maybe around a 40 or 50, due to her father's training. Gohan arrives and calms everyone down, even inviting the girls to his home for some lunch, where they are offered to take the Dragon Ball as long as they return someday and tell Gohan if the legend were true or not when they finished. As the two girls are about to leave, Goku finally pipes up and mentions that he'd really like to go as well. He'd be a lot more worldly and mature since Gohan has continued to be in his life and educate him, so he knows about women and stuff like that. But he's also been cooped up on the mountain his entire life. He wants to go and do some things that are fun that are not on the mountain. Gohan is hesitant about this, but at Chun-Li's request for the boy to come and serve as extra protection for Bulma and possibly a training partner for her, he sort of relents. Chun still had to bring the people who were responsible for her father's disappearance to justice after she found out who actually did it, and if a little boy could defeat her, she needed way more power. This convinces Gohan and he gives the group his blessing to go, while also warning everyone to not let Goku look at the full moon no matter what. The first few steps of the journey go much like in canon, but with a much stronger Goku. Him being around 80th power level around this time isn't hard to imagine since Gohan is already stronger and he has continued Goku's training this entire time. That said, since there aren't too many major fights for a while, a lot of the situations in early Dragon Ball still go the same. Like with Oolong, it's a pretty easy win. The group move on to Diablo Desert, where the more violent Yamcha still resides. He is also stronger, and having trained under the massively powerful Akuma, I think placing him as Goku's better is also not hard to imagine, so around a 125 power level. Goku gives it his all, but the power difference and his hunger make winning now an impossibility. Yamcha's killing intent filled with Fang Fist is a devastating attack that actually draws blood from Goku, and leaves him with 10 shallow puncture wounds from the finishing blow of the move. Goku falls unconscious from the pain, hunger, and exhaustion, and Yamcha contemplates his killing blow. But before he can actually land it, Chun-Li interferes. With Goku having tired Yamcha out a bit, she is able to hang in there. Yamcha, through training with Akuma, isn't as scared of women as he was in canon, but the fear is definitely still there. Chun-Li lands a devastating helicopter kick, and Yamcha is finally deterred enough to flee the battlefield with Puar, who would still be his companion in this timeline, just a little more violent and dark. Bulma and the others try to nurse Goku back to health while he is unconscious and wrap his chest up to stop the bleeding. They journey to Fire Mountain, but here, Yamcha does not follow them. Instead, he is finally tired of waiting around to see Akuma again and realizes that he is unable to kill anybody. He decides that he wants to go and find a new master who he'll be able to better follow the teachings of, and decides to seek out the martial artist Gohan. Goku is still unconscious by the time the crew make it to Fire Mountain, and Chun-Li is definitely the most upset about this. When the Ox King shows up and questions the crew on what they want, they respond that they want the Dragon Ball. Ox King has no trouble just giving it to them because in this timeline, his home is not on fire. His extra training under Goken and Roshi elicited the power in him to be able to put out himself, though this is likely the height of his strength and would have taken a lot out of him. He was never able to master the signature technique of Roshi, but Goken's Hadouken move is a much lower skill barrier, and Chun-Li, hearing this, requests to learn the technique from Ox. He doesn't mind showing her too quickly, and this allows her to get some small amount of training in while Goku is unconscious. Goku remains as such until the group make it into Fungus Town. There, because of how quickly the crew got their last Dragon Ball, and Bulma not needing new clothes, maybe borrowing some from Chun-Li if she does, they are able to move on, still being attacked and kidnapped by the Pilaf gang once they escape the town, who still exists in this timeline. The same situation happens here, only no Yamcha. Goku finally wakes up from his near coma, completely confused, but feeling a lot stronger than he did before he went to sleep. As to what had happened, everyone fills him in, and they begin trying to escape their confines. He is easily able to do so since he was already around as powerful as Ken and Great Ape Goku, and here he's likely gained a pretty big Zenkai boost. With Goku being ordered not to look up, the team run in and intercept Pilaf's wish. Finally getting her chance, Chun-Li yells out to Shenron to reveal to her where and what has happened to her father. Shenron grants her wish and tells her that her father has been dead for many years, even though this is not confirmed in Street Fighter canon. He says he died investigating the conflict between the Red Ribbon Army and the organization known as Shadowloo, which had assimilated the army into itself. He bids them farewell and leaves. Goku and the others try and comfort Chun-Li, but for now she does not shed any tears or show much emotion. For now, she wants to accompany Goku back to Master Roshi's for more training so that she can grow stronger and defeat Shadowloo and get revenge for her father. Goku is all too happy to have her come along, and they work out a way for them to ride on the Nimbus together. First return to Mount Paozu to inform Gohan of what had happened, but when they get there, Yamcha is there with Gohan, but the old man is dead. A strange symbol is pinned onto the wall in his blood, and Yamcha looks completely bewildered by what has happened. He tries to explain himself to Goku, but the boy is already too enraged, and his natural Saiyan programming has elicited the Dark Hado to begin manifesting in him as well. His hair even turns a bit maroon. He returns the beating that Yamcha had given to him earlier tenfold, while Chun-Li watches in horror as her friend steps into the darkness. Finally, she steps in and hugs Goku from behind, preventing him from finishing off Yamcha just yet. Yamcha takes this opportunity to explain that he was not the one to do this, only for the real culprit to reveal himself. Akuma appears, smiling as he has finally found Goku, and the boy is indeed the prodigy he had been looking for all this time. He begins trying to convince Goku to further accept the Dark Hado, but another unexpected visitor arrives, Ryu. Sensing the massive ki and dark energies has drawn him here. Akuma is elated to see both his future prodigies and his future challenges and encourages them to take him on together while embracing their Dark Hado. While they don't know each other too well, they understand that Akuma is a great evil and begin working together to take him down. Akuma is enjoying the fight as it is a decent challenge, but not the one he needed. He taunts them, Goku about Gohan's death, and he reveals to Ryu that he was the one who killed Goku. This elicits more dark power from both boys, and they are able to use it to overpower Akuma and actually land a truly critical hit that puts Akuma out of commission to fight anymore. At this point, Ryu is ready to pull back and spare Akuma as he knows that is what Goku wants for him to do. But more and more of the Saiyan is coming out of Goku. As he prepares to finish Akuma off, Ryu and Chun-Li's calls for him to stop distract him, and Yamcha takes this opportunity to throw dirt in their eyes and picks up Akuma over his shoulder before running away. Goku's rage boils over, and Ryu and Chun-Li have to beat him into submission for him to calm down. When this is finally over, Goku finally has a good cry, and Chun-Li hugs him again. Ryu explains who he is, and mentions that he had trained under Gohan's masters and heard of him. He was sad to hear this, and he encourages Goku to seek out Roshi to help him quell his darkness and get stronger, and to meet him at the World Martial Arts Tournament for a proper bout with each other. Starstruck by Ryu, Goku expresses interest in journeying with him, but the older man is not ready to have a student, and Goku is not ready to walk alongside him. He fist bumps the younger boy and calls him his fellow disciple and little brother almost, claiming he'll see him in 8 months at the tournament. Goku and Chun-Li attempt to get back on the Nimbus, but Goku is no longer able to ride it, meaning neither of them can ride it. The two thankfully pay Bulma a visit and grab a few capsules to fly to Roshi's island. There, they meet a young monk named Krillin who also seeks training. And since Chun-Li is more than enough eye candy for Roshi, there is no reason to seek a beautiful woman. Goku is far above his friends, while Chun-Li trusts behind him, and Krillin is much weaker than both of them. And as such, the weaker two must really ramp up the difficulty of their training to keep up with Goku, while he spends most of his time actually learning the Kame style to fill in the missile puzzle piece of his grandfather's style, and does a lot of meditation to try and quell his dark Hado. Roshi for now doesn't want the boy to get too much stronger until he gets that under control first. But Goku does grow due to his Saiyan biology. As most of the other characters are also stronger, I will now place Goku at a 140, Chun-Li at a 100, Krillin at an 85, and as Roshi is stronger, he has had rivals as well in his younger days and has kept up his training pretty well. He is at a 280 at full power. Because of this, the World Martial Arts Tournament goes somewhat similar, with the Turtle Scroll doing very well. But Ryu, and surprisingly Ken, who has shown up with Bulma and they are apparently dating, also do exceptionally well. With them, even though I think Nam and possibly Daliism could have come to the tournament and been stronger, I don't think they make it to pass the prelims in this scenario because the competition is really steep. Chun-Li replaces Nam in this timeline, while Ken does the same for Yamcha, and Ryu, Giran. Goku actually meets Ryu in the first round, where the two happily have that match that both of them had been wanting. Ryu is shocked about Goku's power growth, but Goku's Saiyan biology has allowed him to grow into his equal very quickly. The match comes down to technique and ingenuity, and though Ryu outclasses Goku in technique, he does not hold a candle to him in ingenuity, ending up with Ryu's loss. Jackie Chun defeats Ken, but is very impressed with his power growth from the time he had been training under him, while Ken easily recognizes the man. Krillin battles Bacterian and wins, while Chun-Li takes down Ronfon really easily. In the next match, Goku faces off against Chun-Li next, who tries her absolute hardest to defeat the boy, but she is unable to, though she does give him a pretty good workout. And that said, she's happy to see she's grown a lot and that Goku is his old self again. And so Krillin gives Jackie Chun a better fight, more akin to the one that Goku gave the old master in canon, since he is really holding back a lot to keep his cover. But he does pull out the win in the end, and does so against Goku in the finals, deciding to hold back a lot less and show 70% of his strength, while also mentioning that this isn't everything he has. The lesson of there always being a bigger fish in the pond is drilled into not just Goku, but all of Roshi's students. Meanwhile, Chun-Li sets off to find the Red Ribbon Army and get some answers, while Goku decides that this time, he will be going with Ryu on his journey and seeing more of the world. In this timeline, he is smarter and more mature as well, and as having had more time with his grandfather, he knows he is not in the 4-star Dragon Ball, and as such, does not have as deep of a connection as he did in canon, so he does not attempt to reclaim it. As such, Chun-Li sets out with the Dragon Radar to hopefully locate the organization, but I'm leaving this one here for now. I'll definitely come back to this sometime, probably in another podcast, but this one has so much potential it could actually become its own what if someday. Be sure to leave your own suggestions using hashtag PlusUltraFam. Remember, capital P, capital U, and F in that. And if you have any ideas where the story can go from here, please let me know. I don't know a ton about Street Fighter lore, so I'll definitely incorporate some fan ideas if I see some really good ones. Shout out to my lovely and amazing patrons for keeping the channel lights on, and to all you members of the Plus Ultra Fam for just supporting me. And to Oxnagadaba for again sending over podcast gameplay. Really means a lot, man. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and please join the Discord server. I'm trying to be more active in it. So with that out of the way, there is nothing left to do. So as always, take care of yourselves and go beyond Plus Ultra. See you guys next time.